Happy Monday. It's Monday. It's a good day. And let me just state for the record, I am a little pooped out, tired guy. I'm just so poo-pooed. I'm so tired. Oh my god. And I can actually explain why. I really feel like if I don't get good sleep for 2 nights, or 2 nights where I didn't get good sleep. Sheriff was a little sick last night, which kept me up. And then I just didn't sleep well one night because I just stayed up late doing nothing. Just doing stupid things, watching a friend play a sealed. And like, man, it is disorienting. Woo. So I tried to make myself go hard at the gym. We're gonna do it. And then I like did one of these things wrong and now my upper back hurts. But you know what? It's still a beautiful day. All things going well in life, and I hope things are going great with you too. Let's talk a little bit about what's going to go down today. So, I'm going to be talking about this deck that you see right here. I just hit Mythic with this puppy. You see, look at me. Woo, I got my thing. So I want to just go through the deck list and show it a little bit, because it's been a ton of fun to play with. I really enjoy playing with this. Then we'll probably switch to some other highly experimental type of deck to do something a little more fun. If any of you are curious about what's going on with the Monday Madness, where typically on Mondays we do something absolutely ridiculous and jank, we're doing something culminating in some maximum jankness on Monday called What the Deck. It's a new show I'm doing, sponsored by Wizards of the Coast, where I play against some of my Magic buddies. And there's 2 deck themes instead of 1. Both me and Brian Kibler will each have a deck theme that we'll be playing under that you can submit over. The information's in the Discord. Oops, wrong button. Information's over at discord.gg/day9tv. There's a deck submissions channel that explains to you how to submit the decks for the show. What the deck. And the themes are Fibblethip versus Niv-Mizzet. Fibblethip, the 1/1 blue creature. A legendary in the hearts of Magic the Gathering players everywhere. If you don't know who Fibblethip is, just Google FBLTHP. That's right, there's no vowels in it. Fibblethip. You must construct a deck for me that contains 4 copies of Fibblethip the Lost. And then for Brian Kibler, you need to construct a deck that has 3 Niv-Mizzet Reborns and only multicolored spells. So the idea is it's who really is the best legendary in War of the Spark. We're going to get a chance to settle that. And then we're going to be doing me versus Noxious 2 weeks later from that. It's going to be super fun. For any of you who are participating in the 30-day project action that we've been going on for the last month, the end of the 30-day project, I say end in air quotes because some people start a little late, some people's projects are going to take a little longer, like mine. So the review show will not be this Friday, because this would be the 4-week mark for DK30, but it will be Friday, May 10th, will be the spring review. So without any further ado, let's play some damn Magic, shall we? Let's play some damn Magic. Woo! Yeah! Error logs of the lands need to be multicolored? Nope, just spells. Just spells. So looking at this, this is in ways a typical looking Selesnya list, right? We have some of the, actually it looks mostly the same as a usual Selesnya list. Except I'm not actually running any Venerated Loxodons, because I find Ajani the Greathearted to really be an all-star replacement for Venerated Loxodons. So Venerated Loxodon, for any of you who don't recall off the top of your head, is a creature that you can convoke to summon itself, which is a 4/4, and every creature that you convoked gets a +1/+1 counter on it. So Venerated Loxodons typically are not so strong against control decks. Why is that? Well, on turn 1, or I should say on turn 2, we're going to play a creature. Then maybe on turn 3, we would convoke out a Venerated Loxodon. But then our opponent can sweep the board with a Kaya's Wrath. So typically, by the time we can make use of a Venerated Loxodon, the control player has killed off a lot of our creatures, or has just killed off our board after we've played a Venerated Loxodon. So typically you wind up sideboarding out the Venerated Loxodon in those cases. Where does it wind up being good? Well, if you're up against a red deck, you can convoke the Venerated Loxodon on Saprolings to make them 2/2s instead of 1/1s. Same thing with the Tithe Taker, making it 3/2s instead of 2/1s. And this can let the Venerated Loxodon live through Goblin Chain Whirler. So Venerated Loxodons, in many ways, are sort of a panacea to a lot of the problems you'll encounter versus aggro, because you have, like, a body. But Ajani the Greathearted kind of does both the things that the Venerated Loxodon is doing, but, like, it feels like it's a little better so far. Like, first of all, if I'm up against a control player, when I play Ajani on turn 4, I'm not tapping any of my creatures. I immediately put the +1/+1 counters on them and swing in. I will eventually board out Ajani versus control, but in just the initial, like, first game, it's really nice. Now, against aggro, you also can run Vigilance. Stream Decker list has Loxodon. Yeah, I haven't updated anything right now. I'm just going to update that for the sake of people who are trying to just blindly copy the list. Alright, this list is now up on the screen for any of you who want to paste it. So, the Ajani versus aggro decks has the nice benefit of giving your creatures vigilance so they can both attack and you can defend at the same time. And this winds up being a really common way to win against red decks, is you just swing, force them to either block, or if they don't block, you still have the ability to chump and then swing back and win 2 turns later. But the game 3 life is unbelievably relevant against burn. This is so nice. The sideboard is the part that I really like, man. The sideboard, Gideon Blackblade. If you're up against a control deck, you don't really need the Ajanis, and in a lot of circumstances, you don't really need these Tristanis as much. These are candidates for cutting. Also, Emmara, Soul of the Accord, can sometimes just not be so great. So you can remove cards like these and just slam in a bunch of Gideon Blackblades. This is so good against control, and I'm hoping we wind up seeing this. Adanto Vanguard, obvious sort of usual anti-control. Baffling End, usual anti-aggro. Against aggro, it depends on what type of aggro deck I'm up against. Sometimes I will, it will be like Saprolings that are weaker against red, so I can just cut this and put in the Baffling Ends. Knight of Autumn is another consideration against some types of aggro decks. Like if I'm against mono-white, Knight of Autumn is like really, really nice. And we also have Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants. This is, I would say, both Ajanis can come in if I'm up against decks that kind of clog the board up a lot. So for instance, if I'm in a situation where I'm against like a base Golgari deck that has like a lot of Wild Growth Walkers, a lot of Explore, I won't be able to break through you, you won't be able to break through me. There's a lot of just sitting and chilling. And so an Ajani the Greathearted to buff the board, and Ajani Adversary to buff the board is super, super nice as a way to break the stalemate, but not in the way that an unbreakable formation would try to break the stalemate. This is like, I want to break the stalemate just this turn. Unbreakable formation is much more spiky, whereas these winds up being persistent threats, which I like quite a bit. I'm also running 4 Thorn Lieutenants that have been ridiculously good. Like, unfucking believably, stupidly good in this deck. It's so good because there's, for whatever reason, when I was climbing to Mythic, there were a ton of Grixis decks that have Cry of the Carnarium, that have Moment of Craving. Thorn Lieutenant lives through all these. It's a very nice anti-aggro type of tool. Yeah, I just really like these, and everything else is pretty straightforward. I'm running 3 Tithe Takers. I really like Tithe Takers. I'm running 3 Emmaras. Typically, just as like a rule of thumb, I tend to run 3 copies of a lot of legendary creatures. Tenor Shoot Dryad be good in this deck? Definitely not. It would be unbelievably weak in this deck. Super, super, super weak. Why? Because it's 5 mana. What we'll wind up seeing, OVZ, over the course of these games is my board starts off kind of medium size, gets a little bigger, and then we want to slam through and try to crush maybe around turn 5 or something like this. And in those types of contexts, I actually would rather play this because, again, this looks Grixis-y. And in this sort of context, on a turn 5, I would much rather play a Trostani that would buff all my stuff and let me bash through. I would much rather do that than play Tendershoot Dryad that would like slowly build a board over time. Do we have big enough butts that we just don't have to worry about Tocatli in the board? Do you mean like Tocatli against us, or us with a Tocatli? Doing this in the wrong order, but whatever. If the question is, do we need Tocatlis in the sideboard to deal with... Aw, fuck. The question is, do we need a Tocatli in the sideboard to deal with Golgari? I don't think so. I don't think so, because we're not really white weenies. I think if we're pure white weenies, we don't have a lot of good answers to, you know, explore shit. Wow. Perfect. Unless this is just straight up Essence Scatter, in which case, whoopsie-doopsie. No, we did it. Alright. I don't know what that bug is. Oh my god. The namesake of Hoaglandia has joined us today. What is up, Mr. Hoagland? If I consider the Wanderer to help against things like Fiery Cannonade or other damaging spells, oh, I forgot about Time Wipe. That's the first time someone's played Time Wipe against me. Rats. Whoopsie fucking whoopsie. This is an interesting deck. I've never seen anything quite like this. This is like really cool. Because things like Tyrant, Scorn, Thought Erasure are pretty typical of more control-y Esper decks, and then Hero Precinct 1 is super indicative of mid-range. And my brain went, oh, okay, we see this, we see this. This looks like a mid-rangey deck. And now we're seeing Liliana, which would make sense. She's a nice way to top off. Alright, I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope to die. Desmira, oh no, says I have severe clinical depression to the point where most days I never get off the couch for 5+ years. Wanted to let you know the 30-day challenge has helped me so much. I've exercised for the first time in forever this month and gotten off couches to do things and live again. So much love. That is such great news, Desmira! Dude, when I was younger, I really, like, you know, when you're young, you have a structured life, right? You go to school at this time, you get off school, and then you have to do the homework, and then you have to go to the class, and the classes happen in a very specific order. You're only allowed to eat lunch if given permission to do so. This helps the most marginal amount ever. Do I just lose 3 to reduce her? Alright. Oh, get me out of this game. Alright, I'm just gonna try one more turn. But yeah, you know, when I was younger, I used to just be like, alright, no, I am so ultra superly duperly focused.
This looks like a fun new toy.
On just, you know, getting the schedule that I needed to get done. To where I sort of associated lack of schedule with relaxation time. Hey, finals are over, it's time to do whatever the fuck I want. Woo! You know, that sort of stuff. And increasingly, I'm just finding that it's almost like the opposite. It's like really a lot of that structure helped give me lots of comfort, such as regular sleeping, regular eating, regular exercising, all that shit. Okay, so what do we identify as being the problems that we must face? What to do? Adanto Vanguard. I'm not sure Adanto Vanguard would be so spectacular. Maybe it would actually be pretty good. Let's see. Well, my question is actually, what do we cut? What do we cut? Can't put things in unless you cut stuff. Gideon, definitely. I'm not 100% sure on Gideon. I don't actually know how controlly our opponent is. You know, here's the way that I'm going to evaluate this. Let's assume that our opponent is a typical controlly style deck that just happens to run some of those little buggeroos. So here's how I would typically board against that type of deck. Right? These cards are fairly resilient to sweeps and removal. Actually, we need to get these puppers in here, don't we? Boy, Thorn Lieutenant is a little less what I'd want. We didn't see a lot of the... I'll do something weird like this. Again, so I'm a little confused by the deck list. And so, given my marginal confusion, I mean, this is not the best. I'm gonna chuck it because it doesn't let me do that much. I actually prefer this one. No! I think that the most difficult aspect to the interface lately is these slight little moments of lag and glitching when you've had it open for a while. Because I actually had Magic the Gathering Arena open. I was like playing before the show. Oh, well, I realize in this regard, it doesn't particularly matter. Because Flower shuffles the deck. Which is something that I forget 10 out of 10 times. 10 out of 10 times. Okay, so Gideon Blackblade is so good against control decks. But we don't know if our opponent is a control deck.
Your light will cleave the darkness.
I want to go ahead and leave the Tithe Taker back, because I would like to have a blocker for my Gideon pal. See, this is such a weird thing to have in the main deck for our opponent. Like, this is generally considered a very weak card if you're up against a player who is in any way aggro. So I can make this indestructible. I think I don't want to attack with this.
I will lend you my strength.
This is definitely a weird card to have in here. Like, if this can get a History of Benalia, it can be a bit painful. But again, this tends to be a low percentage card, because right now it's spend 3 mana to have done nothing this turn with it. Deputy Detention hurts a bit. See, I think that our opponent was actually more mid-rangey than control, and I sideboarded against control because, again, I'm just slightly confused as to what this deck list actually was, but that's alright. I think we're pretty much dead in this game. Give Gideon Vigilance? You cannot give Gideon Vigilance. I'm going to go ahead and just concede this because we just boarded super wrong. And I think the big thing is that in my brain what I need to do is I need to say if there's a hero of Precinct 1 and I'm confused, I shouldn't just assume control next time. Next time I'm just going to assume that it is a proper mid-range deck and deal with it accordingly. And in that circumstance, we'd be boarding in a lot more Baffling Ends. We'd almost be playing that matchup as though we were up against Gruul. This is a nice hand. So depending on what gets played first. Thorn Lieutenant. Now, this is an interesting first one to play. I feel like in the absence of knowledge, Emmara Soul the Accord is fine to play. So this could be some sort of Orzhov control. It could be an Esper control that just hasn't gotten blue yet. The Wanderer? No, Wanderer just doesn't solve any problems, so there's no real reason to run it. Really, the goal is you want to be... Okay, so I guess it's a little Espery guy. If we can flip Legion's Landing versus Esper, then that's amazing. So this is a sensible play from our opponent. Yes. I mean, I think conceptual way to explain what the problem I have with the Wanderer is that the Wanderer is a preventative thing. That's actually good news for us. The Wanderer is a preventative dude, and we are a proactive deck. We're looking to poop upon the enemy. I just love Thorn Lieutenant, man. I had no idea. This used to be the Huatley's Raptor, which was like okay. Alright. Dr. Victory is actually in a little bit of a struggle bear mode right now. I did not play this because I would rather play a 1-1 at end of turn to guarantee that I always have an attacker. I thought about adding Swarm Host to the deck. Well, I mean, there's of course the 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just continue to commence the bonk. Problem with Swarm Hosts is, you know, I really feel like Esper players have figured out the proper amount of Colossi and counterattacks to just make it work, you know. Now, wouldn't it be just the funniest little thing if we drew a land and won with... Ah, damn. Alright, we did it. What was bad about Huatley's Raptor? It wasn't bad. There's nothing really bad about it. It's, I just felt like the Thorn Lieutenant just did things a little bit better, you know? I honestly, truly do not have a strong opinion about it. Okay, so we're up against a control deck. So this Ajani is not particularly useful. This Tristani is not particularly useful. And this Emmara is not particularly useful. And in the places of those, we're going to add in 3 Adanto Vanguards. Because, again, these are resilient to control in different ways. This has Indestructible. When this dies, it summons a thing, and it helps against counterspells, because it makes counterspells more expensive. This has 3 Toughness, which is significant against Cry of the Carnarium. Moment of Craving, which we've already seen. Saproling Migration creates 2 threats on the board, which has some resilience against single target and helps us flip this more. Gideon Blackblade is good for shitting on things. And then Ajani Adversary of Tyrants is very nice as something that must be dealt with very particular things. Because if you get that -7 off, you just kind of win the game. Hold on to the Conclave Tribunals, because I think they're quite good. Pretty straightforward side betting plan. Raptors definitely win more. Well, welcome to Day 9 TV, where win more is actually an emotional state we pursue on a regular basis. This is a bad hand. That's a better one. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we're going to shuffle. Sometimes it's hard to, like, have the thoughts that go on in my mind and for them to go on unchecked. It's hard for those thoughts to go on unchecked. Did you see me just successfully say, it doesn't matter, we're going to play Flower Flourish? Yeah, fucking chuck the hand, man. I don't care, Dr. Victor. You got me. We'll go ahead and play our Thorn Lieutenant, because it's tight. Vinven says, my dog says, hi, Day9. Vinven, tell your dog woof woof. Your dog is a good boy. Or a good girl. Or a good pupper. Whatever the... Why did that get removed? Seems like an odd one, doesn't it? Okay, so this means no Kaya's Wrath on turn 4, which is tight. Since there's no Kaya's Wrath coming up, I'm going to do this. Cry of the Carnarium could be coming up. Actually, maybe it's better even in the face of Cry of the Carnarium. Yeah, so no Kaya's Wrath, so that's good. It's pretty tight. And I think I just don't play anything. Land Kaya's Wrath could hurt a little bit. That's great. My opponent has to do something to kill all this stuff. Basically, he needs precisely Kaya's Wrath. Ritual. I believe Ritual of Soot would never be run in this deck because why run Ritual of Soot when you could run Kaya's Wrath? Holy luck sack! Yes!
Let me lead the charge into darkness. I believe in you, friend.
Why do you put stops on? I just like having stops. You need that super specific answer to deal with that. It's so nice. Remember me.
I walk a righteous path. I believe in you.
Ugin, huh?
Another day.
Dude, this is actually fucking hilarious.
Gideon Jura, at your service. Prepare for battle.
I mean, this is fucking funny, man. I mean, this is good.
Lies beyond vision.
Ah, damn, I got caught. Alright, fuck yeah, man, what up? Ah, remember me? I tell you, Gideon, he's so tight and distractible.
Leave the darkness.
Die! You got him, my friend. We're really good at drawing exact answers here. You got it, man. This is actually going to be a little tough because this Ugin's got the power of the pluses. But you know, what are you going to do? Yeah.
I will defend the weak at every opportunity.
I will defend the weak.
Share in my light.
Share in my life. Oh yeah. Guess Sean put Gideon's in the Watanabe sleeves. Damn, Patrick, that's too soon. For any of you who don't know, one of the most significant players in the history of Magic the Gathering was caught with marked cards in the recent Mythic Championship. And in case you did not know, that's very bad.
I will lend you my strength.
What cards? There is a deck called Tron that is trying to get 3 very specific lands out because each of those lands benefits from the other 2.
Strength I gave out do not include you.
I mean, we're pretty dead. We're pretty dead looking. So, I mean, like, as someone who played Brood War in StarCraft 2, it's like when Savior was caught cheating or when Life was caught cheating. There's currently the sort of argument of, well, we're still not sure. We're not 100% sure that it was cheating. He claims not to know how they got marked. But there's difficult things because the player switched sleeves. There's a good one. Who was it? Yuya Watanabe. DMC says, clarification, Savior wasn't caught cheating, he was caught match fixing. Huge difference. That is true. That is true. I'm using cheat in an extremely broad term. Savior and Life were match fixing. They were betting against themselves. Which leads to some... there was actually a particularly funny match where Savior was playing against a player named Upmagic, who was also cheating. cheating, excuse me, who was also match fixing. And so they were both trying to throw the game. Alright, looks like we're gonna lose the history, huh? Go ahead and just slam out the Tithe Taker. Is that the one where T-Scout's the Overlord and pretends he didn't see it? It's where a Terran player opens up with, like, command center barracks. I think we just Conclave Tribunal that, right? It seems like a good a play as any. Alright, so let's think here for a moment. If we went Saproling Migration into March of the Multitudes, we would just get one. Yeah, I think we just Conclave it. Yeah, so Up Magic went for this unbelievably greedy early expand thing. And Savior went for a 9 pool, and a 9 pool is like a really... It's like perfectly weak in a lot of situations because it gets there too late to have any impact. But it's also done early enough as to like screw up the Zerg's economy. So it's just like, it's like a pretty funny... This is actually such a nice card to get out. Oh, I gotta drink so much water. Ah, man, I tweaked my back very lightly. You know, I feel like a dog that keeps eating chocolate with my exercises. So for any of you who do not know about this, I was trying this exercise a while back called kettlebell swing, and it doesn't matter if you know what it is. You can just like Google it if you want. It's just hard to have good form, so I kept sort of screwing up my upper back, which hurt a little bit. And so I kept tweaking my back with the kettlebell swing because it's just hard to have good form. It was like my kryptonite. Yeah, no, that's that's exactly right. Agrope. Oh, that actually just fucking sucks a lot of ass, man. How do we get around that pupper? Maybe with one of these. And so the thing that I need to learn is that with certain types of weightlifting, what is like unbelievably, superlatively important. If I swing out, our opponent has 5 and we can only deal 3. So we have to set our opponent back to 2 again. Or we'd set our opponent to 1, so we're just going to pass through. And so I just got really excited, and I've been like doing a good job showing up to the gym, doing all my exercises, and then like was doing this thing where you bend over and you do this, you open your arms up, and I had increased the weights, they were a little off, so I hunched my shoulders a little bit and did this, and just like fucking squished my back, and my back was like, ah! It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But I'm just going insane. I just immediately stopped weightlifting at that point, so I was just like, yeah. Dithanos says, your shirts from the DBH store is awesome. My Day 9 Tank is my favorite working out shirt, so it gets a lot of use, and I wash it very often. It's like 3 years later, still in perfect condition. That's amazing to hear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Could be that this just gets hard countered, and, you know, what are you gonna do? We'll see if Dr. Victory just gets out of here. Thorn Lieutenant over Tithes. You can actually look in the deck tracker and see that we're running both of them. And I say that not to dunk on you, but to sort of like, hey, there's other questions that you could answer for yourself by looking at the thing you may not have noticed. By the way, I just queued straight up into that next match, but I wanted to note that Gideon Blackblade is a really nice, just beat the ass card. I like this hand. How dare Day 9 dunk on his viewers? Let me tell you, I'm still feeling bad about my behavior towards Newbie, man. I feel like I owe that human an apology. Because here's the thing. Here is a... Let me talk a little bit about being a streamer compared to just being a regular old Sean living life. Alright, I still think it's probably better to just play the Thorn Lieutenant. Probably getting more damage. People like to tease me a little bit, and I like to tease back. It is a fun and satisfying and wholesome way to live life as an interneter. If you're stuck on land, I'm stuck on land, my friend. So, you know, there's times when, you know... Boy, that's so good. Yeah, we did it. There's times where it's not about, is the way Sean teasing... We're the best player here. Is the way Sean teasing good, or is it bad? Is it appropriate, or is it inappropriate? The fact of the matter is, it will be different for every person. Sometimes there are people who tune in that I can be fucking outright kind of mean to, and they'll find it endearing and funny. There are some people who are feeling really tender because they've had a rough day, and light teasing from someone they watch to unwind with will feel really shitty. You know what I mean? JTS's me says, I am the Shaz. Yes, I am the Shaz is a great example of someone that I can be a little harsh with, and he'll find it pretty funny, because that he's a little bit trolly, right? And once again, even if we say that, I am the Shaz could have some day where he's like, actually, you know what? I'm not okay with it today. And that's always okay to do. That's always okay to say. And the important thing is not for me to find the one right line, where I am perfectly aware that this is the correct way to do it. All of you should be okay with what I'm doing right now. There is no line. It's different for different people. And because each person has a different line, the important thing is not for me to have one consistent behavior and to stick to that. It's to always be willing to listen to people if I wind up hurting their feelings. And Newbie has not said outright, yeah, you tilted me, you hurt me, or anything like that. But I worry I did and haven't got a chance to say sorry. And I'm always willing to, you know, say, hey, dude, I'm sorry if that caused any pain. Being proactive about extending an apology will never make me feel like less a man. Hunix says, I think it's fair, but I also want to point out, I was surprised to watch the VOD and see what you actually said, and it was really not very mean at all. And two, I still adore that you're kind of content creator to be concerned about that type of blind spot, even if you weren't. I mean, yeah, no, like, I concede the fact that I really was not being a huge prick, but I sort of imagined that, like, if people you hang around with on a regular day are lamps, I'm like the fucking sun, okay? Like, it can feel a lot worse if you're just quietly alone in your room, in your comfy, happy place, and then, like, the person you're tuned into who's streaming fucking pokes fun at exactly you in front of a whole bunch of people. You know. So in my eyes, it's less about the objective goodness or badness and more about, like, the, oh, fuck, I did not mean to hurt you! I hope I did not! Do I want to do this right now, or do I want to march for one and Ajani it up? Yeah, I mean, that just this feels like a weird spot, but I think Ajaniing for one might be good. But yeah, man. Always want to make sure people are getting pat-patted. This is so good. The astronomer, Toronto versus 1,000 years ago. DJ Wheat paused the entire broadcast just to call me stupid. That is fucking awesome! Oh my god, that puts me in a great mood because when Marcus begins to lose his mind, it is sensational. It's so good. I also gotta turn on the air conditioner, man. I'm like... it's like fucking getting hot in here. Risk factor? Yes, please, hurt me. Hurt me, father. Yeah, no, I'll take that action. So I believe that this would be indicative of a nerd who is some sort of aggro deck, and this is where Ajani the Greatest Hearted is going to be superlatively dope. So marching for 1 here feels in theory bad, but you know, it's fine. Spending 1 card to make a useful 1/1 feels fine, all in time.
Honor.
Buffing him up.
If I have
Swinging
to
on.
light the way.
Swinging on in. Swinging on in. Alright, I gotta turn on that air conditioner. I'm going to melt. Ugh, fuck. Holy crap, this room is just... it is simmering. It is simmering. 1/1 for 4 mana. Yeah, that's one perspective of efficiency that would make one go, ooh, that feels bad. We gotta not do it. But, you know, spending the card to make 1/1 feels like not a problem. I think we certainly are just gonna discard 1 Conclave Tribunal. Question is, which other one do we do? I think I chuck the Legion's Landing. This doesn't seem like a matchup where I'm trying to accumulate marginal value over time. I think I might even be willing to... oh my god, yeah. Oh. Oh, dude. Oh, please. Oh. Yeah. 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 Uh-huh. Oh my god, dude. Like...
Turn back while you...
oh. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Darkua says, at what hospital were you born and on what date? Darkua, that sounds a lot like a question that someone would ask to get my credit card information or some shit. Alright, we did it. We've killed Sods. Oh, my social security. Yeah, it's 555. 022. Okay, so let us see here. We are up against what appears to be an aggressive deck. And life gain appears like it's going to be relatively important. So, I mean, I really want to... I can cut 1 Conclave Tribunal and jam in the Baffling Ends. And the question is, what is the appropriate things to cut? Ajani is definitely going to stay. Darkua says, can't blame the guy for trying. I was born somewhere in Florida. And I say somewhere because I'm not... I don't exactly remember. I know that's one of those things I'm supposed to remember, but... Favorite childhood best friend, asks Pandaponium. It was actually you, Pandaponium. It was actually you. So, I'm going to cut 1 Tristani Discordant. And I want to point out a mistake that I think I make a little bit often. I'm actually going to do something like this. A mistake that I have made with this deck is I go, aha, it's like a more aggro deck. I want to put in a whole bunch of removal. And then I kind of wind up forgetting that the purpose of this deck is... my opponent almost certainly runs Chain Whirler, so I'll do that. So the purpose of my deck is to be building a board, and to do things that are board buildery in nature. Oh my god, is it Mother? Uh-oh. Damn. It's Mother. Mom was asking if she's like, hey, what you up to? And I was like, I'm live. I think we can hang on to this pupper. This is a pretty passive hand. I think this is still an acceptable one to hang on to. Now it's a very good hand. I should have played the Sunpetal Grove first, though. Ninmuffin says, does your mom ever watch the stream just to see what you're up to? That's a great question, Ninmuffin. I think the answer is no. I think my mom does not watch my content almost ever. Occasionally, like, if there's a YouTube clip or video, she'll wind up watching that. Because a lot of people, like, my mom has explained to me the way that she winds up seeing my content, where one of her friends will be like, did you see what Sean did with thing X and Y? Oh my god, wasn't that great? And she'll go, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. And then they'll go, well, let me show you. And then my mom is presented with a thing. True Manian says, I think she prefers Noxious. Professor Nox really is the best Magic the Gathering streamer on Twitch. Let's agree on that, huh? So, overall, I think that I'm content with our strategy thus far. These Carnival Carnages and running a resident Rixmati Reveler are pretty typical. I forgot to attack. Next, see, does she have a concept of what you do? Oh, yes, absolutely. She just doesn't watch on a regular basis. Scraw! Alright, so our read on the deck is mostly correct. We kept 3 Conclave Tribunals instead of cutting down to 2. Chandra?
My hair is on fire? I know. What's that smell? Oh, it's you burning.
You know, I played against Chandra before. I actually think that we ignore her. I think we actually completely ignore her. We're just going to bonk the face like a proper adult here. Our opponent's a little too slow, and we are a speedy little deck. By the way, it's Psychic Muffin, Glamewit, and Shadow TV have all kindly gifted, excuse me, Shadow Cast TV have all kindly gifted 5 Subaroos.
Sit back and watch it burn.
Folks, thank you. Thank you for that. It's a good way to start off the Monday. Isn't that grand? Glamewit says, hey Sean, just dropping by to wish you a good day. Hope you're doing well. Glamewit, I'm actually doing amazingly. I just don't feel amazing because I did not sleep very well. My poor little cat woke me up in the middle of the night puking. I started to get all stressed. I went to bed at 11:11. I remember that very clearly. I went to bed at 11:11. Woke up at 2 a.m. just stressing about my baby girl. March here for 2 would be good, but we get to march here for 3. It's like Muffin says, to continue your memeing of my volleyball playing, I met a cute girl on my team today. Might ask her out once finals are over. Hell yeah! Now remember, you know, I am going to speak from the perspective of men who are interested in women. I'm going to speak from that perspective. But of course, this could apply to anyone of any sex or gender with interest in any other respective sex or gender. I can't stress this enough, and I mean, you didn't ask, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. The most important trick to talking to a girl, if you want her to like you, and here it comes, get this, is you just talk to her like a normal person. Took me years of learning. Took me years. You just say shit like, how was your day? How are you? Things like that. Isn't this? It's a crazy trick, right? You just, like, ask her how her day was, and you talk to her like a normal person. It's so great. The whole culture of pickup lines, ridiculous. The most ridiculous thing. I'm going to go ahead and march now, because there's not really a sweeper never mind. I'm absolutely, unbelievably worried about. The whirliest whirly boy. Like, pickup lines are funny to say to someone that you've been dating for 7 years. Okay? No! Ah! I thought this was... Oh, it's exile the top 7 cards. Okay, I thought it was exile the top 3, but, you know, not that that makes it any different. Yeah, Sods be dead. Eight says, Tinder has taught me all I need to get girls is pickup lines. I really feel like if Tinder is a lesson teacher that feels like it has merit, something's probably going a little wrong. Because of the afterlife, we now can convoke our afterlife token, so it actually lets us generate 3 instead of 2, which is very nice. Aaron Twist says, I have found that your advice is correct, but incorrect on this point. Darkua says, Tinder has taught me I'm ugly as sin. I've actually never used Tinder. Never have I ever. I've been in a long relationship that happened pre-Tinder, so I just... Plus, when the times in my life when I'm like actually single, I have... God, it's been so long. A lot of times, like, when I'm single, I'm grumpy about the fact that last relationship didn't work out for whatever reason, so I'm like, well, in that case, I'm gonna take it out in StarCraft! I mean, I know that, like, the traditional heterosexual male maneuver is to take it out on the next person you date, right? Like, hey, can I buy you a drink? No. Well, then you're an asshole, right? I know that's like a move that I know a lot of young men do. Don't do that, by the way. It's a bad thing to do. But I do rebound StarCraft. I'm like, I'm upset and I have feelings and I don't know how to process them. And then I just 4-pool people. Let me tell you something. Oh, man. I don't know if any of you have ever done what I've done and, like, coped with, you know, emotional strain and stress by diving into a hobby really hard. But, you know, if I'm, like, on a really good streak in StarCraft, and then I get whomperonied by someone who, frankly, just, like, played a better game, all of a sudden my brain goes, I miss her so much! Like, it's like, yeah, I lost a game, but now I'm upset, and, like, all the repressed feelings just, like, poosh, like, pop right out. Oh, man. Alright, let's flip this. Yes! Boy, that feels good. Bing, bong, bang, bow. So, Ritual of Suit could be a thing. I mean, I guess we got a history here, huh? We see Grixis. Ooh. And I will flower here. Getting a land to be able to play Tristani Discordant is tight. Oh my god, Count Brennivark says there was a guy whose girlfriend had just broken up with him at my War of the Spark pre-release, and he was just getting to the games super hard. I felt bad for the guy. Oh my god, I relate to that so hard. Oh, fuck. Alright, I mean, this could get countered plausibly, but, you know, what are you gonna do? You're going to attack. You know, let's stop clicking. Let's just hit that space bar. This is the best part about this deck. You just space, space, space. Ultrafast says, all that relationship drama is really alien to me. I've never wanted relationships much. I was married once. It didn't work out, but we're still friends and hang out all the time. That's a really lovely story. I'm like really glad to hear that. I think this is the one that I want to do for now. No, this guy can be kind of a big scary baddie. Like, I feel like there's, because Miltorfast, to your point, I feel like there's just too much, or I should say there's not enough of, hey, we're not together, and that's okay. As opposed to, we're not together, and you know what I hate about my ex-wife? Ah! Okay, so how in the fruck do we do this one, huh? This little guy being flip-owed is very nice. This is a long time from flipping. I think we can just safely swing in with our Thron Man. Cool, tight. So, now, here's the interesting question. What are we to make of this? This feels a little risky, because that cast down feels a touch like, hi, I have a cast down. Or not a cast down, hey, I have a Cry of the Carnarvon. It could also not be true. And it could be Zodiac Griller just doing a kill, and then hoping that this 2/2 can be the effective blocker. I do think this is an acceptable target. Da-da-da. Convoke this little guy. Get rid of that one forever. I think just keeping the pressure on feels correct. There's like a new glitch in there. Let us not forget that my goal is to beat down. Whoa. Doba Fresh says, have you seen those neural net generated pickup lines? No. No, I have not. I have not Doba Fresh, but I do want to see those. God, that would be so good. Alright, so we technically have done it. We have won the game, unless there is a removal spell. Alright, we did it. So I think Emmara is kind of a stinker here, as is Tristani, as is Ajani. Put in Ajani, put in the Gideons, and then probably put in the Adanto pals. Alright, so we just have a nice sequence of distributed threats, and that feels good. What are your favorite pickup lines? I don't like pickup lines. I actually don't like them that much. Doba Fresh is sharing the neural network ones. These might become my favorites because I like absurdist humor. If I had a rose for every time I thought of you, I have a price tighting. Like, that's just such a weird sentence. I love it. Yeah. All minions. So I have dothly achieveth one of my goals for my DK30, which is I now understand all of the mathematics behind the proximal policy optimization algorithm for reinforcement learning. And to quote a lot of people who are parrots, feels good, man. Why do people run this card against these aggro decks? What even is the best line here? Probably just swing and flip. I just think this is such a bad board. Like, am I misunderstanding something? I mean, this seems like super weak. Thief is good against Selesnya? I actually just don't understand how it's good against Selesnya. Unless that's exactly History of Benalia, I don't see how it helps. What now, Zodiac Gorilla? If you looked into hierarchical reinforcement learning at all, that's what I've been digging into lately. It seems like a more efficient form of reinforcement learning, but it's not very well developed. I think that there's a lot of really interesting and compelling theory behind it, for sure. Do I swing with this and generate a token? No, I think that our opponent is actually under the pressure right now. I'm just going to do this. This will make sense in a moment, what I'm doing. I'm doing this, so that way I can swing to flip the Legion's Landing, which will then flip into a new land. I want to keep this legendary. Now I can play this Plains and run out of Tithe Taker. I would say that the theory of it is that it should be more efficient. However, I think that I have a reasonable amount of stuff to say about this. See, this Thief of Sanity has helped relatively little up to this point in time. Alright, so we got shit on. This... Why did our 2-1 not make a 1-1? I wasn't paying attention as closely as I should have.
Every problem has a solution. Let's start by taking you out of the equation. But I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I make it rain just for fun.
Yeah! Oh, I forgot to make a token. Oh, it was a counter? That's right. Most important thing for me to do is to make tokens with this deck, and I'm really good at remembering when I'm not streaming, and I'm really bad at remembering when I'm not or when I am streaming. I'll talk more about hierarchical RL in a sec. Trying to win a game here. That's a good peel. Thief of Sanity still sucks in this matchup. Whatever. To this guy. Let me see if I can poop out some thoughts on hierarchical reinforcement learning in this sideboarding session. Which is, so, I'm going to use StarCraft as the example for it. So the idea behind reinforcement learning is... I am a StarCraft AI. I'm making random decisions until I get rewarded. What's a reward? Well, it's whatever I, the programmer, define that to be. And in the case of StarCraft, it might be that I give a big reward anytime you win a game. And I give maybe small rewards for taking expansions. You know, something like this. And the brain of your learning dude adjusts itself based upon when it gets rewards. If it gets a little reward from an expansion, it goes, ooh, the actions I took to get to here, I should do those more. Ah! So, what is hierarchical, or I should say, what's non-hierarchical learning? This would be what DeepMind did with AlphaGo and with AlphaStar, which is basically, you are just going to get all the information of what's happening in the game, and you can make any decision a StarCraft player could. There you go. There's no help that you're giving the learning agent. But couldn't we give the learning agent help to let it learn faster? Yes. But that defeats the whole fucking point of making it pure learning, right? That defeats the whole point. So, for instance, a lot of times, you'll just say, okay, StarCraft agent, you just get a reward if you win. That's it. You don't get what I call breadcrumbing rewards. And I think that's actually more commonly used. But you know what I mean by breadcrumbing, right? Like, if you build a worker, you get a tiny point. And if you get an expansion, you get a medium-sized amount of points. And if you get a win, you get a huge thing amount of points. Look at that. Breadcrumbs, because I think economy is what leads to winning. That's actually good enough. And so the idea of hierarchical learning is, hey, wouldn't it be dope to make... this could become really, really good soon. You know, my learning agent is really struggling to get shit. It's just not doing the best job. I love Thorn Lieutenant. You know what would be, like, super tight? Please attack. It'll be super tight, is if I simplify the problem for my learning agent to help him along. So we have seen that our opponent has a propensity towards saving up counters. Do we want to Ajani here? I think I'd rather lose the Gideon to an Ionize. So the idea of hierarchical learning is where you have a mini brain for subtasks. You have a mini brain that does just combat. And then you have a mini brain that does just building shit. And this example is already good enough to work with.
Kinship ensures.
Wait a fucking minute. Didn't I? Oh, yeah, got exiled. Alright, I'm a dummy.
Deliver us to victory.
Ah, well, whatever. Nicol Bolas, here he comes. So the idea is that you have a simpler problem doing well in combat. And then you have a simpler problem. We're completely fucking dead, by the way. You have a simpler subtask in combat. You have a simpler subtask of building. And then you have a really simple, high-level brain that's saying, do I choose to be in combat mode, or do I choose to be in building mode? So because these are much simpler problems, maybe my little agent baby can do a better job. And I think that hierarchical stuff is really interesting for when it comes to ultra-pragmatism. Maybe like moment of craving, moment of craving. That'd be like pretty funny.
Of a time, Planeswalker.
I should have played the Thorn Lieutenant first, but you know, whatever. I think this card is like one of the most insanely good cards. Like, holy crap, that guy's so good. Alright, so this is a Cry of the Carnarium coming up here. Conclave Tribunal hurts a bit. Never didn't have it. So our opponent does not have Ionize up, which is great. Could have Negate. More likely nothing. because I know there's a lot of academic study into machine learning that's very like, how do we give no help at all? How do we show that this thing is 8% more effective than that thing, you know? And that, which is a meaningful increase. But then there's just like the pragmatism of like, okay, how do I actually make the whatever I'm trying to do just be good at that thing?
Genius inventor.
Even if it involves using a little bit of cheaty, hacky stuffs. This game client is so annoyingly laggy with such frequency. Do I actually want to kill this? I think I actually do, because I would very much so not like if Ral copied a Chemister's Insight or some such thing. And that's it. That's just a dead Ral. We're gonna keep this up because this can. We have not seen any Little Nickel Bolus, so I'm keeping this because Thought Erasure is a really common card in these kinds of decks. That's actually very nice, because getting to 6 is pretty helpful. So basically, it's strictly Cry of the Carnarium that Zodiac Griller is looking for. And this might be game right here. Has to be Vraska's Contempt on the Adanto Vanguard. Should have pinged the Adanto Vanguard. Ral can only ping players or planeswalkers. Alright, so that doesn't do it. Oh, of course it doesn't. Who am I kidding? Everything else just like, no way, it's gonna block that. So here, Cry of the Carnarium just like immediately kills us. Okie dokie. That's pretty good to see. Oof. What a play. Nice. Well done, Zodiac Griller. Ooh, baby. That was nice. It's a nice little deck. I'm thinking maybe one more game with this. One more best of 3 with this. I want to try out this Gruul list that I saw on the internet. I saw on the tweeters. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we got our friend. Do-do-do-do. Cat-based media. Opponent goes first? Yeah, seems okay. I think I'll hang on to this pupper. How old is the kitty now? 4.5. Have I ever had a full beard before? No, not really. Hi. It's Dad. Dad has come to give you kisses and scritches. Yes. This is such a good cat. This is just the best cat. Okay, you don't want to be touched? I understand. I'm that way too sometimes. Budsy says, God, it had the best win. Some guy was BMing me hard in game 1, so I crushed him the next 2 games. Let me tell you. Best thing you can ever do. Which is, where is it? Disable emotes? Right there. That's your moneymaker. Okay, so this Tithe Taker, there's a big reason why we run the Tithe Taker, and it is Zeus matchup. Come on, sweetheart. Would you stop being a little cat butt? Ah. Ooh, ah. There you go. That's a good kidder. So basically everything expensive is bad in this matchup. We're going to swing just the Tithe Taker because this could be a Merfolk Trickster. Wait, is this Sagic from chat? Oh my god. Oh my god, it's Sagic from chat. Die, Sagic. Oh, me and my cat want you to lose so much. Oh my god. Alright, Sagic. Sagic says yes. Sagic is currently on stream watching, but will never cheat, is merely listening. Well, Sagic does know that we're running Selesnya and we've whiffed a forest. Hello. Alright, thing of beauty, huh? Alright, foist things foist. Swing in with this. That's good. Yeah, what are you gonna do? I'm going to do this because this is a spell instead of a creature. Is the cheek the chin or the back the sweet spot? They're all the sweet spot. This cat loves attention. This cat gets so jealous he gives someone else attention. Xylo says, hey Sean, what are your first impressions of top meta decks in the new expansion? I really don't know, man. There are just so freaking gosh darn many. Why didn't I attack with the token? Because my opponent could play a Merfolk Trickster, and I would much rather not be up against it. Aristarchus has just gifted some Subaroos. Aristarchus. Happy 5s. Do I have any war cards in this deck? The new Gideon and the new Ajani. And they feel so great. Alright, so what is Sagic up to? We have a lot of manas left open. I am going to do this. This is just super mana efficient for us. I may not play those cards. You got it, sir. Yes, sir. So that's actually fine for us. We're trying to chew through some of the mana of our buddy. So let's go ahead and make a swing. Swing on what? Yep, see there's a Merfolk Trickster that your pal Bay9 played around so magnificently for so long. We're absolutely going to flip this. Bing bong. Coral42 says, has Day9 played any good Grixis control decks? I'm looking for a good Bolas deck. A very good Bolas deck can be found on Jeff Hoagland's Twitter. He tweeted a list 4 days ago that I looked at it and it looked very sexy. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the fact that we played around? That dastardly bastard! Alright, so I think that, like, swinging with the team is going to be pretty good here. I think that there is... It's pretty clear that there's another Merfolk Trickster in the hand. So that Merfolk Trickster will likely disable Tristani Discordant. But for that reason, I'm just not going to attack with the Tristani. So what conceivably should happen is Merfolk Trickster comes down, targets Tristani, gives everything -1/-1. Oh, what are you going to do? No! So, in this context, we now believe that some sort of counter is very likely, so we would rather Emmara gets countered than Thorn Lieutenant. Played around that Merfolk Trickster, baby. Ugh. You're narrating everything to your opponent? That's fine. That's fine. Well, if we're gonna get countered, we may as well have this get countered. City's on Stream King. No, Salgek's a good dude, man. We're not that concerned about this. So basically, expensive shit's bad, and cheaper shit's good. So I think it's fine to cut these Tristanis, cut these Ajanis, put in the Knights of the Autumn, put in the Baffling Ends, and then just win with a very slow, steady swarm of muscle. Sagic said I had Trickster back. Gosh, man, I had the sole read on your hand, Sagic. We are just suspected of tricksters at all times, man. Is Vanguard bad here? Might be fine, actually. Seems like it would be fine. The twist, Sean has a tab open to Sagic stream. Yeah, no, if he's cheating, I mean, I'm cheating. I'm cheating. Vanguard is awful against Trickster. There's the point, Patrick. I knew there was a reason. I just couldn't procure it using my own brain. My mind betrayed me. This is going to be acceptable enough. The fact that we have a Conclave Tribunal full for stuffs. That is super significant. The fact that we saw nothing on turn 1 from a mono blue deck. Opt is fairly common, but you'd rather be playing a Terry. You'd rather be playing something a little bit more influential. So now, if it's passed through, then we can say fairly confidently that there is a Merfolk Trickster. This could get spell pierced, which would be weird to me, which would be very weird. We're more so expecting a Merfolk Trickster to come down at some point. Alright, now that is a very interesting play. What do we think about that? Well, if we swung with these two, this could possibly cause a Merfolk Trickster to come down. Merfolk Trickster would eat one of these. We already think that it's reasonable that Sagic has a Merfolk Trickster. And Sagic chose not to do anything with it. Okay. We're just going to keep playing the Saproling Migrations then. Perfect. I'd much rather have that countered. So, for a moment we were estimating that there was a Merfolk Trickster in the hand. There has been no Merfolk Trickster in the hand. So, this was probably looking more and more like a handful of counters. But we're going to keep posing the question, do you have a Merfolk Trickster? Okay, so there is a Merfolk Trickster. Okay. Could be that there's just a second Wizard's Retort in hand. That would make some sense. Okay, so now we're gonna play the History of Benalia. Boom. So that was a good sequence to avoid running headfirst into a counterspell with the History of Benalia. So, what do we think the likely... yeah, I'm more than happy to take the damage here. What do we think the likely things are here? Oh my god, I am unfair. Essence Capture seems like a very reasonable one. We're just going to start getting some of these out of the way. Siren Stormtamer could get sacrificed for this. We would swing with these two and then play the other Conclave Tribunal. Great, so we're going to let that resolve. That's fine. Now we're going to go to combat. I'm going to swing with just this guy. Say next. Now we're going to play our Conclave guy. Boing. Bing. Bang. In you go. Siren Stormtamer could get sacked for the Merfolk Trickster. That would be fine by me. So I think that we're pretty sure that this is in hand now a Essence Capture, which means our March of the Multitudes is going to be gigantic. And we're pretty comfortable with our experience in this match because we have really seen no War of the Spark cards right now. I don't even think we haven't even seen any Ravnica Allegiance cards. Like, there hasn't been a Terramander. This is all Ixalani, Dominaria. So we would venture to estimate that this is essence capture. Croc says, I don't think Mono Blue really did get anything from War of the Spark. Yeah, I have not seen much Mono Blue. Alright, I'm fucking wrong. What did I fuck up? No, I thought I counted correctly. Because this is 2 and 5 is 7. This needs a total of 8. So we're just gonna bing bong like this, and then we're actually just gonna march the multitudes for 6 right now. We just don't want to get countered. There's no sweepers in mono blue, so we can just play this before the Saga could possibly draw. Boom! Boom! Oh, there's a curious obsession that Sagic was somehow incapable of drawing 2 games in a row, which is pretty bad luck. Unless it's Merfolk Trickster in hand. That's lethal, isn't it? Sagic says sad hands in chat. Yeah, Sagic, your hands have been pretty rough. Like, getting no... Ba-boom. Getting no Curious Obsession is the anti-bee's knees. Oh, it's still lethal. Okay. Bam!